Welcome back. And as we mentioned, 2 IRS whistleblowers are testifying as we speak before the House Oversight Committee, alleging political interference in the investigation into Hunter Biden. One of those whistleblowers speaking out publicly for the first time is Joseph Ziegler. He said he believed there was, quote, gross mismanagement throughout the investigation. He also called for the appointment of a special counsel to take over the investigation. Take a listen.
I still think that a special counsel is necessary for this investigation to further handle ancillary investigations that are spun off and relate to Hunter Biden, but may not have venue in Delaware. Lastly, I would like to conclude again by encouraging Congress and the administration to consider establishing an official channel for federal investigators to pull the emergency cord and raise the issue of the appointment of a special counsel for consideration by senior officials.
Joining me now to talk about this is the House Oversight Committee member, Democratic Congressman Krishnamoorthi. Congressman, thank you for being here. I mean, you were in the room. You asked these witnesses questions. They are career public servants. Their political ties are somewhat in question, but for the most part, they describe themselves as being apolitical. Do you think that they're credible witnesses, and are they making credible allegations?
I think that they're honest witnesses. They're public servants. I don't question their integrity. I think that they have basically questions. They're basically second guessing what other investigators and prosecutors and attorneys on their team made in terms of judgment calls. And interestingly, a lot of their concerns, as they laid out in their previous testimony and transcript and statements, concern time periods when Donald Trump was president, Bill Barr was Attorney General, of course, appointed by Donald Trump, and Mr. Weiss was the U.S. Attorney for Delaware, and of course, he was also appointed by Donald Trump. So doesn't seem like political bias necessarily played a significant role in the decisions that they're questioning.
Well, it's interesting that you make the point about the U.S. Attorney in this case, David Weiss, and that leads me to my next question, because it does appear to be the one issue here where there appears to be a he said when it comes to this. These whistleblowers are saying that David Weiss told them that he did not have the final approval to make a decision on prosecuting Hunter Biden. Weiss has sent 2 letters to your committee to the contrary. Does he need to come before your committee or to another congressional committee and answer these questions under oath?
I'm not sure, but I think that, Mr. Weiss has made it very clear that, as recently as just a couple of weeks ago, that he had the authority that he needed to do his job. And again, this is somebody who was appointed by Donald Trump, who was selected by Bill Barr to consolidate the cases under one jurisdiction to do what needed to be done. And I think to kind of question his decision making based on politics, it just doesn't seem to make sense to me.
Okay, so let's talk about some of the other committees on Capitol Hill and kind of how politics seems to be tainting everything right now. Historically, the national...
Politics. I can't believe you bring that up.
Hard to believe, right? Historically, though, the National Defense Authorization Act has been a largely bipartisan effort. And this time around now, Democrats are suggesting that is even being caught up in the culture wars. We had a number of amendments that were added to the version of the NDAA that your House of Representatives passed. I know you didn't vote for it, but it was passed largely along Republican lines. Can we get to a point where not every single thing is brought into the culture wars? How can we turn the page in that respect? And what do you think it means for the future of the NDAA?
Well, I think that hopefully the Senate does what it needs to do to clean out a lot of the junk in terms of the amendments that have no place in the NDAA, whether it's restricting people's health care choices or preventing women from being able to exercise their reproductive freedom. But I think that in terms of the path forward, I would just respectfully submit that what we're doing on the Special Select Committee with regard to the Chinese Communist Party might be one model for how to move forward. I think there you're seeing, real thoughtful and a bipartisan approach to a very complex problem, which could easily be politicized, but thankfully it's not. And I think that it offers a glimpse into how we might be able to run other committees if we can kind of create some space for kind of non-political or apolitical discussion to occur.
Mm-hmm. I want to talk to you now about the address from Israel's President Herzog today, addressed a joint meeting of Congress. It did come, though, after some controversial remarks by her colleague, Congressman Pramila Jayapal. She did walk those back, but we've seen a back and forth within the Democratic Party as to how to approach the situation in Israel. It does appear to have at least divided your party on some level. From your perspective, what should the U.S. policy toward Israel be?
I think that we have to always remember that Israel has a special relationship with us, that it is practically the only robust democracy in the Middle East right now. It's a place that, as President Herzog mentioned in his address, you have Muslim members of the Knesset, you have Christian members and Druze members of the Knesset. Of course, you have Jewish members in the Knesset. I think that this type of multicultural democracy doesn't exist elsewhere. All that being said, when Israel is secure, we are secure. We have to continue to maintain a strong bond, and we have to do everything we can to help their democracy flourish and ours as well.
And does that mean that the current prime minister, Benjamin Netanyahu, who's the one who actually has the most power within the Israeli government, should be afforded the same invitation to address a joint session of Congress, much like you saw from the president today?
Well, you're asking a question that is going to get a lot of different answers on Capitol Hill. I personally think that, right now they're going through a lot in the Knesset. I personally have grave concerns about trying to water down the independence of the judiciary there. But on the other hand, as President Herzog also mentioned today, the fact that they're able to have this robust discussion and disagreement is, again, testament and tribute to their democracy. I think they'll come through it. And I hope that we are able to continue to remember that the special relationship transcends individuals who might be in each government. It's between our peoples and our countries, and we'll always have to stand by it.
Congressman, thoughtful conversation. I appreciate you coming on. We appreciate it so much. Have a good one.
You too. Thanks, Ryan.